Coming up on First at 4, one Southern Kentucky county continues to make strides with economic development. And many folks across the Commonwealth are still dealing with issues after last night's storms.
And it's been drizzly out there today, but I'm tracking the sunshine working back in. Coming up as Mountain News First at 4 starts right now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, multiple businesses have already been added in Laurel County this year, and more will be coming. The county government is in the process of building its 10th spec building for incoming businesses. Economic Development Authority Executive Director Paula Thompson says while the COVID-19 pandemic slowed the economy down some, corporations are seeing the worth of building in Kentucky.
I think that they realize that we're just workforce that has just inherited that work ethic from our forefathers, our grandfathers. They want to have things in life, so therefore they're going to show up for work.
Local entrepreneurs are making a difference in economic growth as well. We'll have more on that at 5:30. A Corbin restaurant has won the Golden Ticket. Old Town Grill received that honor as the Golden Ticket was part of the city's Restaurant Week. Old Town Grill owner Mike Caffrey says he's thankful the community picked his restaurant. He says his son even came up with the dish.
And we're just tickled to death that our guests in Corbin picked us. I mean, we're ecstatic, and the staff's ecstatic. My younger son, Matthew, he came up with the dish. He created the dish, put it out there all week, and we won, which I had no doubt it would be great, but we did not know we would win the dish, which was awesome.
The restaurant will compete in Dallas now in November for the World Food Championships, where they could win $100,000. Coming up at 6, we'll take a look at how important this is for Corbin's tourism as their spring season kicks off.
Cold front continues to push out of the region, taking some, or at least taking the storms with it. The showers, they've hung on a little bit. It's been one of those kind of drizzly days out there. Here's a look from Pinpoint Doppler. Set in motion. You see most of the showers have been confined up toward the bluegrass. About a couple of those maybe trying to sneak into parts of the Cumberland Valley. Same thing as you head up into portions of Powell and Estill County, kind of right along the Mountain Parkway there, and just north as you head up toward Frenchburg along 460 from Mount Sterling. We're cloudy out there in many locations. Pikeville Medical Center camera is still cloudy there as well. Still hanging on to some milder temperatures along the Kentucky-Virginia border. 73 Jonesville, 63 in Harlan, but most of us sit in the 50s at this hour, and we'll continue to sit there for a while. The gustiness, mostly gone. We're still gusting, though, 20 miles an hour in Harlan, 22 in Middlesboro, so it is a little bit gusty out there, but the good news is most of the shower activity continues to work out. You forecast first through the next 12 hours. Temperatures don't move a whole lot, only eventually into the low 40s as we head into tonight. Not quite done with those showers yet, Steve, but sunshine is back as we head into Easter weekend, and I'll detail that forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Evan, thank you. Kentuckians are getting a better look at storm damage today. In Winchester, a man says damage from past storms went without repair for weeks. And that situation got even worse after last night's storm. Ronnie Goldman lives in Memorial Park and says his apartment building was originally damaged in last month's historic windstorm. He says maintenance crews came by to put plastic on the roof after the first storm tore shingles off, but the next storm blew the plastic off. Yesterday afternoon, Goodman says high winds opened up a hole in the roof right above his bedroom more than a month after it was first exposed.
When can it be corrected where you're not worrying if your bedroom ceiling is going to fall in on your head while you're asleep?
Shingles remain scattered across the property, which is managed by the federally funded Housing Authority of Winchester. The Housing Authority claims it had not received any complaints from those living in the area about the damage. Roughly 50 people have been displaced after yesterday's storms damaged an apartment complex in South Louisville. 3 EF1 tornadoes touched down in Jefferson County and 1 person died. Windows were shattered and one section of the roof at that apartment complex was ripped off and tossed up a hill. Police, firefighters, and EMS all responded to the scene, but even before they arrived, neighbors jumped in to help. Louisville Emergency Services says the Red Cross will help house those left homeless by the storm. At least 5 people are dead after a tornado touched down earlier in the day yesterday in Missouri. Governor Mike Parsons says it left widespread damage throughout Bollinger County. Hundreds of people are still without power. Multiple people are also injured. Crews are searching through the debris to make sure everyone is accounted for. A 4.5 magnitude earthquake shook parts of California yesterday. The quake hit parts of San Benito County. There have not been any reports of anyone being hurt from that quake, but as you can see, damage was done at one market there. Products spilled everywhere on multiple aisles. China is warning the U.S. not to provoke them over Taiwan, and it is shoring up relations with other countries. A day after the Taiwanese president met with U.S. lawmakers, China is flexing its own diplomatic muscles. It is hosting the French President Emmanuel Macron and the head of the European Commission. China is also warning the U.S. that supporting Taiwanese independence would be a, quote, red line. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and the Taiwanese president say independence was not the reason for their meeting. Bipartisan members of Congress are using the visit to show support for the island. In France, protesters marched in a new round of strikes and nationwide demonstrations today. This is the 11th day of protests against French pension reforms. They are seeking to get President Emmanuel Macron to scrap pension reforms that have ignited a month-long firestorm of public anger. The strikes come amid a deadlock in discussions between unions and the government. One of the changes Macron is proposing is raising the retirement age from 62 to 64. Yesterday, we told you about former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi being back in the hospital. Today, he's been diagnosed with leukemia. Is the latest setback for the 86-year-old media mogul. He served 3 terms as Italy's prime minister and currently serves in the Senate. Pope Francis took part in Mass at the Vatican on Holy Thursday at St. Peter's Basilica. Pope Francis thanked priests for the good they do while encouraging them to invoke the Holy Spirit. The Pope also advocated for priests to turn towards Christ, especially in times of crisis. Chrism Mass is typically celebrated each year on Holy Thursday. During the ceremony, the holy oils used for sacraments and rituals are blessed. The Pope also washed and dried the feet of a dozen folks who are staying at a juvenile prison in Rome. Coming up on First at 4, with summer not too far off, we'll have some tips on how to stay safe while in the sun.
And we're keeping it cool for a few more days around the region. Details, though, on when 70s return coming up after this.
I was hit by a drunk driver right after Christmas 2018. I had a damaged car and